Good afternoon from a beautiful New York morning.
Well, Andrew, we've just watched and heard John Kerry stand shoulder to shoulder with William Hague, although one does wonder why, when Great Britain isn't going to be joining forces with America. I mean, will this press conference have any impact at all in their campaign to persuade Congress to back military action?
No, none at all. It's not even being watched over here. The truth is that if the vote was held in Congress today, the President would lose. He might squeak through in the Senate, though I'm not sure of that. I'm certain he would lose in the House. There are already 227 members of the House have declared to be against a strike or leaning that way. You only need 217 for a majority in the House. So if it was today, he would not get the vote and he would go the way of David Cameron in the House of Commons.
Right, so how much has he got to do to persuade enough people in both the Senate and the House to make this certain of success?
Well, he's not certain of success, and he has a mountain to climb. He is giving interviews to 6 networks today, which will all appear in prime time tonight. He's addressing the nation from the Oval Office tomorrow, live, and there is a massive lobbying campaign going on in Congress. Now, that is a powerful business. A president who wants his way is a powerful machine, but he's up against an even more powerful machine, and that's public opinion. And senators and congressmen are coming back from their constituencies over the weekend reporting huge public opposition to any kind of strike against Syria. One congressman said to me, to say 99% of my people are against it is to overestimate the support for it. And it's interesting that those who have electoral ambitions, for example, Mark Rubio on the right of the Republican Party, he hopes to be a Republican candidate in 2016. He's against it. The senior Senate Democratic senator for Arkansas, who has a real struggle to get re-elected in 2016, he's against it too. It's going to be very hard indeed, and at the moment the president is facing defeat, staring defeat in the face.
Right, and what will that mean for his presidency? Obviously he's not standing again, but what does that mean for him politically? The stakes are immensely high.
It will be devastating for the president if he loses, because it will show that he hasn't got the power to get his way in Congress when it comes to a major issue of foreign policy. And indeed, the elephant in the room here is not Syria at all. The strongest briefing we're getting from the administration is that if the Americans do not agree, if the Congress doesn't agree to a strike against the Assad regime — by the way, Mr. Assad has appeared on American network television this morning, reminding Americans of how difficult their past entanglements in the Middle East have been and denying that he used chemical weapons. But the line coming out is that if we do not respond, we, the White House, to the attacks, chemical attacks in Syria, then the Iranians will not believe any threats we make against them. So the stakes are very high. And if he loses this, my feeling is that we will have a lame duck president for the rest of his tenure. Second terms are always difficult for American presidents anyway. They're not up for re-election. They don't have coattails, as they call it here. They don't have pulling power to bring people along. If you lose this major vote in Congress, then he'll be even more of a lame duck president than he was heading to be.
Well, and finally, before we let you go, Andrew, what about the timetable, then, of these votes?
We're beginning to get some procedural motions in the Senate this week, and there may be a substantive vote by the end of the week on Friday. But I don't think that the House, which is the key, and by the way, he needs to win in both the Senate and the House for Congress to approve. I'm not sure the House is going to come to this until sometime next week. And these long delays, the fact that unlike Mr. Cameron, he didn't recall the Congress, which he has the power to do. He just let Congress come back after the summer holiday in the natural way, delaying any possible attack. It's like he's done a keep the date card to President Assad, saying, I'll get to you, but sometime in September. And the fact that there is this delay also means that many in Congress do not think the president is really serious about this, and they're not going to go along with it.
And actually, so just before you go, presumably if Congress doesn't support this, even though he could, as Commander-in-Chief said, we're going to go ahead with military action, he wouldn't.
It is inconceivable, if the president loses the vote in Congress, that he will proceed with the kind of military action that is currently being planned. He won't say so in public, but the steer from White House aides is that Congress will have to decide this, and if it doesn't vote for a strike, there will not be a strike.